The streets of hip-hop just erupted into chaos, and this time, it's bigger than social media clips of viral beef. Gucci Mane's crew reportedly pulled up on Pooh Shiesty after the shocking robbery claims surfaced, and sources say the situation escalated faster than anyone expected. What started as rumors and speculation has now turned into a full-blown confrontation, leaving fans and insiders scrambling to figure out what happened, who was involved, and what this means for both camps. Gucci Mane's influence in the streets and in the music world is undeniable. His team doesn't just respond, they make statements, and in this case, the message was clear: actions have consequences. When news broke that his crew confronted Pooh Shiesty, the internet lit up instantly. Clips, eyewitness reports, and insider commentary spread across social media, showing the world that this wasn't just words, it was a real-life escalation with serious stakes. Pooh Shiesty, meanwhile, is no stranger to high-profile drama, but even he reportedly didn't anticipate this kind of immediate response. The alleged robbery claims had already stirred the community, but Gucci Mane's team's presence turned tension into an actual confrontation. Eyewitnesses claim the scene was intense, with cars arriving, people confronting each other, and onlookers capturing everything. Fans flooded social media with mixed reactions. Some hyped up the drama, others worried about where this could go. What makes this situation particularly explosive is the speed and scale of the escalation. In hip-hop, beefs can simmer for months, but this moved in hours. Every message, every clip, every post became part of the unfolding story, and the stakes felt higher than just bragging rights. Reputation, street credibility, and respect were all on the line, and both sides reportedly understood that consequences could be serious. As the dust settles, questions remain. How far will this go? Will it stay contained to words, or will it spiral into something more dangerous? The fans, media, and insiders are watching every move, analyzing every clip, and speculating on what could happen next. One thing is clear: this is no ordinary drama. Gucci Mane, Pooh Shiesty, and their crews are now at the center of a story that could define this moment in hip-hop history, and the next move could change everything. The confrontation between Gucci Mane's crew and Pooh Shiesty didn't happen in isolation. Tensions had been simmering for weeks following the shocking robbery claims, and fans knew the situation was volatile, even if no one could predict how quickly it would escalate. Gucci Mane, a veteran of the streets and the music industry alike, commands respect in ways that few can match. His influence isn't just about chart-topping hits. It's about loyalty, reputation, and the unspoken rules that govern respect and accountability. When his name became associated with a potential retaliation, the streets and social media alike paid attention immediately. Sources say the escalation started as a simple check-in, a way for Gucci Mane's associates to confirm the legitimacy of the claims against Pooh Shiesty. But what was meant to be a conversation quickly transformed into a high-stakes standoff. Cars rolled up, crews were on edge, and eyewitnesses described a scene charged with tension. Everyone seemed aware that even the slightest misstep could ignite a situation far beyond what anyone intended. In hip-hop culture, and especially within these circles, respect is earned but easily lost, and this confrontation tested both in real time. Pooh Shiesty, for his part, is no stranger to drama. His career has been punctuated by headlines, legal battles, and moments that push boundaries. Yet even someone as street-savvy and media-conscious as Shiesty reportedly did not expect Gucci Mane's team to respond so swiftly. Within hours of the robbery claims surfacing, the scene had become chaotic, with multiple cars, crews, and bystanders converging. Social media clips began circulating almost immediately, showing a flurry of movement, tense faces, and heated exchanges. Fans couldn't get enough, dissecting every frame for clues about what sparked the escalation, who was involved, and whether violence would erupt. What made the confrontation particularly volatile was the speed with which it unfolded. Typically, these situations simmer for days or weeks, allowing time for strategy, negotiation, and sometimes cooling-off periods. In this case, the response was nearly instantaneous. Gucci Mane's crew reportedly treated the claims with zero tolerance, signaling that perceived disrespect or disloyalty would not be overlooked. The streets interpreted this rapid response as both a statement and a warning. No one crosses this circle without consequences. Every move made by Shiesty and his associates was scrutinized, amplified by cameras, bystanders, and social media users eager to capture the drama as it happened. The social media response added another layer of intensity. Clips of cars pulling up, figures gesturing, and tense standoffs quickly spread across Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Fans debated what it all meant, theorizing about the possible fallout and predicting next moves. Some celebrated the confrontation as a bold statement of authority from Gucci Mane's camp, framing it as a lesson in respect and accountability. Others expressed concern, warning that these clashes could easily escalate into dangerous violence if cooler heads didn't prevail. The mix of hype, fear, and fascination created a perfect storm for a story that would dominate headlines for days. Inside the scene, sources report that the emotions were raw and unfiltered. Loyalty, pride, fear, and adrenaline collided in ways that made even seasoned observers uneasy. Every word exchanged, every gesture, and every movement carried weight. The intensity wasn't just performative, it was real, a reflection of the high stakes involved when reputations, credibility, and personal safety are all on the line. Both crews reportedly understood the consequences of overstepping, yet the tension remained palpable, a silent countdown to how the confrontation might resolve. It's also worth noting that this isn't just about street credibility. Both Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty have massive followings, and every move they make is instantly magnified. Careers, branding, and public perception are all intertwined with these confrontations. A single misstep captured on camera can influence fan sentiment, record deals, and future opportunities. That knowledge adds a layer of pressure that only intensifies an already combustible situation. No one in the scene could afford to underestimate the impact of their actions, and the awareness of cameras and online scrutiny only added to the tension. The legal implications cannot be ignored either. Any physical altercation or property damage could result in serious consequences. Sources close to the situation confirmed that both parties were aware of the risk. Yet the stakes weren't just immediate. They were long-term, influencing credibility, alliances, and the trajectory of both camps. By the time the dust began to settle, everyone watching knew one thing. This wasn't just drama. It was a real-life escalation with consequences that could ripple across music, culture, and the streets alike. As the dust began to settle from the initial confrontation, the situation was far from over. While Gucci Mane's crew had made their presence known, the ripple effects extended far beyond the physical scene. Social media exploded with clips, eyewitness accounts, and commentary from insiders who claimed to have knowledge of what had transpired. Each video, each post, each reaction only amplified the tension. Fans dissected every movement, the way cars rolled up, the expressions on faces, and the subtle gestures that hinted at loyalty, hierarchy, and potential retaliation. It was no longer just a local street issue. It had become a national spectacle, a real-time drama where every second mattered. Pooh Shiesty, for his part, had to respond strategically. He's no stranger to public scrutiny, and he understands the importance of perception. Sources report that Shiesty's team went into immediate damage control mode, analyzing the confrontation and preparing for potential backlash. Unlike viral feuds that rely purely on social media, this situation demanded careful planning, coordination, and attention to the street code that governs interactions between crews. Every decision, from public statements to who would be on-site in follow-ups, was made with consideration of both reputation and safety. The speed at which the confrontation escalated surprised many observers. Typically, disputes of this magnitude simmer over weeks, allowing each party to gauge intent, assess risks, and prepare for action. In this case, Gucci Mane's crew's response was nearly instantaneous, signaling that patience was not part of the equation. This suddenness sent a clear message. In these circles, disrespect or perceived wrongdoing is met with swift consequences. The optics alone, cars converging, crews confronting each other, bystanders filming, reinforced the seriousness of the escalation. The involvement of social media amplified every moment. Clips showing tense stances, rapid movements, and heated exchanges spread like wildfire. Comment sections filled with speculation. Who started it? Who would respond next? Could this escalate into violence? Fans and critics alike debated the ethics, the legality, and the potential fallout. But one thing was certain. The confrontation had captured the public's attention in a way few events do. For both Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty, this was no longer just a street issue. It was a cultural moment, watched and analyzed by thousands, if not millions, across the country. Sources close to Gucci Mane's camp indicated that the confrontation was also about reputation management. In these circles, perception is everything. Swift, decisive action communicates power and authority, reinforcing the leader's credibility while warning others about the cost of disrespect. It's not about starting unnecessary conflict. It's about maintaining a presence that demands respect. The crew's visibility during the confrontation served both as a statement and as a deterrent, signaling to other crews, fans, and industry players that Gucci Mane's authority remains unchallenged. At the same time, Pooh Shiesty faced a delicate balancing act. His response needed to demonstrate that he wasn't intimidated while avoiding actions that could escalate the situation into outright violence or legal trouble. Sources report that Shiesty's team immediately strategized containment measures, emphasizing communication, presence, and careful observation. Every step had to maintain credibility, ensuring that Shiesty's reputation remained intact while showing he could navigate high-pressure, potentially dangerous situations. In these moments, perception often outweighs the reality of what happened. How a person reacts is scrutinized more than what they actually do. The stakes extended beyond just street credibility. Both artists are public figures, and the potential for legal ramifications added another layer of tension. Any escalation could lead to arrests, lawsuits, or media scrutiny that might affect record deals, collaborations, and future opportunities. Sources suggest both camps were acutely aware of this, balancing loyalty and street code with the reality that their careers and freedom could be affected by a single misstep. The result was a situation that demanded extreme caution, yet remained charged with emotion and unpredictability. The aftermath of the initial confrontation also had a psychological impact. Those present reported an elevated tension even after crews dispersed, with conversations dominated by strategy, reflection, and contingency planning. For insiders, it was clear that this was no ordinary clash. It was a statement about power, influence, and control. Every person involved was acutely aware that their next move would be analyzed, recorded, and potentially judged in public forums, online communities, and street circles alike. Ultimately, the incident demonstrated the complex interplay between loyalty, reputation, and strategy in modern hip-hop culture. Gucci Mane's crew made it clear that disrespect would not be tolerated, while Pooh Shiesty's response highlighted the importance of careful navigation under intense scrutiny. This wasn't simply about a robbery claim. It was about maintaining influence, projecting authority, and managing perception in a world where every move is amplified and nothing remains private. The story was far from over, and both sides understood that the next chapter would determine who truly commanded respect in this escalating situation. The fallout from the initial confrontation was immediate, but it didn't end there. Sources close to both camps reported that the tension lingered for days, with every movement scrutinized and every interaction analyzed. The streets, social media, and industry insiders all watched closely, waiting to see who would make the next move. In situations like this, silence isn't neutral. It's interpreted as strategy, weakness, or even submission. Both Gucci Mane's crew and Pooh Shiesty's associates knew that perception could outweigh reality, and every action, or inaction, carried weight. Gucci Mane's camp reportedly used the days following the pull-up to consolidate influence. Messages were sent to allies, meetings were held, and surveillance of potential flashpoints increased. Sources say it was not just about retaliation. It was about ensuring that everyone in the circle understood the stakes. In this world, loyalty isn't assumed. It's demonstrated, and swift, Visible action reinforces the idea that the crew's leader is in control. The pull-up sent a loud message, but follow-up strategy ensured the message would be remembered long after the scene had cleared. Meanwhile, Pooh Shiesty faced the challenge of maintaining credibility under intense scrutiny. He couldn't appear intimidated, yet he also had to avoid making a misstep that could escalate the situation into violence or legal consequences. Sources report that Shiesty's team implemented strict protocols, monitoring locations, controlling access, and limiting exposure to manage risk while still projecting strength. Every appearance, every post on social media, and every response to rumors had to be carefully calculated. One wrong move could undo weeks, or even years, of reputation building. The media coverage added another layer of complexity. Clips from the scene circulated rapidly, fueling speculation and debate. Headlines emphasized the pull-up and the intensity of the confrontation, while social media users dissected every detail, sharing theories about motives, alliances, and potential outcomes. In these high-profile situations, the story often becomes larger than the individuals involved. Public perception can shape careers, influence fan loyalty, and even affect future collaborations. Both Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty were acutely aware of this, adding pressure to navigate not just the streets, but the court of public opinion as well. Insiders also highlighted the emotional toll on those involved. Adrenaline, fear, and pride collided in ways that made rational decision-making more difficult. Witnesses described moments of tense silence, measured glances, and subtle gestures, all part of a complex code of communication that determines who is respected and who is questioned. The stakes were high, and everyone involved understood that a single misstep could have serious consequences. This wasn't just about confrontation. It was about survival, credibility, and the unspoken rules that govern loyalty and authority in these circles. At the same time, the incident sparked conversations beyond the immediate crews. Industry insiders debated how the escalation might affect collaborations, label relationships, and upcoming releases. Some argued that the visibility could boost both parties' clout, while others warned that unchecked escalation could lead to legal trouble, jeopardizing careers. The intersection of street credibility and mainstream success created a delicate balance, and navigating it required both careful strategy and nerve. For those directly involved, every step had to account for not just immediate outcomes, but long-term implications. The public's fascination with the event also revealed the modern dynamics of celebrity and social media. In an era where real-life confrontations are instantly recorded, shared, and dissected, the line between performance and reality becomes blurred. Fans consume every detail, interpret intentions, and assign narratives in real time. For Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty, this meant that every move was amplified, every reaction analyzed, and every decision evaluated not just by those present, but by millions watching online. Reputation and influence now exist in both physical and digital spaces simultaneously. By the end of the week, tensions remained high. Neither side had fully backed down, yet both had to operate with caution. The streets had witnessed the pull-up, social media had dissected it endlessly, and the industry was watching how this drama could affect broader relationships. Sources suggest that both camps were preparing for further potential interactions, knowing that the next move could escalate, de-escalate, or redefine power dynamics entirely. This was a situation where timing, perception, and strategy mattered as much as strength or numbers. Ultimately, the pull-up on Pooh Shiesty was not just an isolated event, it was a statement. Gucci Mane's crew demonstrated authority, reach, and influence, while Shiesty's response highlighted the careful navigation required to maintain credibility in high-pressure situations. The story wasn't just about confrontation. It was about strategy, loyalty, perception, and the delicate balance between street rules and mainstream visibility. Both sides understood that the stakes extended far beyond the immediate moment, and every decision would ripple through the streets, the industry, and the online world. After the initial pull-up and the tense standoff, the situation didn't fade. It evolved. Sources close to both sides reported that the atmosphere remained charged for days, with crews on alert and fans dissecting every move. For Gucci Mane's camp, the pull-up was more than a show of force. It was a warning, a reminder of the consequences of disrespect. Every member understood that appearances mattered, that loyalty was not abstract, and that failure to act decisively could weaken the crew's authority in the streets and online. The stakes were not just immediate, they were long-term. Pooh Shiesty's team reportedly spent these days reassessing their strategy. While they couldn't ignore the confrontation, they had to balance retaliation with caution. Escalation could easily spiral into legal trouble or public backlash, and both of these figures had careers to protect. Sources indicate that Shiesty's team focused on monitoring potential flashpoints, controlling the narrative on social media, and reinforcing alliances quietly. The goal wasn't just survival. It was maintaining credibility and signaling that they could navigate danger without losing composure. Social media amplified every nuance of the aftermath. Clips, screenshots, and rumors circulated endlessly, giving fans and industry observers a front-row seat. Some interpreted Gucci Mane's pull-up as a masterclass in street authority. Others questioned whether it could provoke an even bigger confrontation. Online, fans debated intentions, predicted next moves, and speculated about who would emerge stronger. In these modern conflicts, perception often carries as much weight as reality, and both crews were aware that a single viral clip could define the story for weeks. The psychological intensity on both sides was palpable. Eyewitnesses reported that even when the crews were not face-to-face, the tension persisted. Every phone call, social media post, and movement in public was evaluated carefully. Leaders on both sides were aware that their decisions would set the tone for younger members and allies. A misstep could not only escalate the situation, but also damage reputations built over years. This constant mental pressure added a layer of complexity rarely seen in previous confrontations. Both physical and digital stakes were intertwined. Gucci Mane's approach appeared to blend authority with caution. Sources suggest he wanted to ensure his message was heard without forcing a physical altercation that could result in legal consequences. The pull-up itself was a calculated statement, demonstrating readiness and influence while avoiding direct violence. For his crew, the event reinforced a code. Respect must be visible, consequences must be immediate, and leadership must be unquestionable. Every aspect of their behavior following the confrontation reflected this philosophy. Meanwhile, Pooh Shiesty faced the challenge of preserving his image while managing real risk. He couldn't ignore the pull-up, it demanded response. But any reaction had to be measured. Sources say that his team prioritized strategy over emotion, monitoring Gucci Mane's movements, strengthening alliances, and controlling potential flashpoints. In these high-pressure moments, public perception is intertwined with street credibility. How he reacted, what he said publicly, and how he moved privately would all define his reputation for months to come. The stakes extended beyond individual reputation. Both camps understood that alliances, record deals, and fan perception could shift dramatically based on the outcome of this drama. Industry insiders noted that labels and collaborators were watching closely, aware that a misstep could create ripple effects across music projects, partnerships, and public image. The pull-up, while rooted in personal and street-level dynamics, quickly became a cultural event influencing wider industry decisions. Legal implications hovered over every action. Any confrontation involving multiple people, vehicles, or public spaces carries the risk of arrest or lawsuits. Both Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty reportedly instructed their teams to balance visibility with caution. Sources confirmed that while the initial pull-up was intended as a show of force, both sides understood the importance of avoiding situations that could escalate beyond control. The tension was palpable, but strategy remained at the forefront. By the end of this period, it was clear the pull-up had achieved its purpose. Gucci Mane's crew had reasserted authority, Pooh Shiesty's team had adapted to the new dynamics, and the public was watching every detail. The incident became a lesson in the modern intersection of street credibility, social media amplification, and industry perception. Every choice from this point forward would carry weight, shaping reputations, alliances, and the narrative for months to come. The confrontation may have started as a response to robbery claims, but it evolved into a study of power, strategy, and perception in modern hip-hop. Both Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty were navigating a minefield, balancing loyalty, public image, and legal risk. What seemed like a simple pull-up had triggered a chain of events far more complex, and the next moves would determine whether this situation escalates, de-escalates, or reshapes relationships across the streets and the industry. By the time Part 5 of this saga unfolded, the stakes had shifted from a single confrontation to an ongoing strategic battle. Gucci Mane's crew had made their intentions clear, showing that disrespect or disloyalty wouldn't be tolerated. The pull-up had achieved more than immediate attention. It had reinforced authority, sent a warning to potential rivals, and established a narrative that Gucci Mane's influence remained unshakable. Yet, as the dust settled, it became apparent that the consequences of the confrontation extended far beyond the streets. Careers, reputations, and alliances were all at stake, and both camps knew that miscalculations now could be catastrophic. Sources close to the situation indicate that in the days following the pull-up, both crews focused on shoring up their positions. Gucci Mane's team maintained visibility in strategic ways, showing power without unnecessary escalation. Their approach balanced intimidation with restraint, sending a message that the crew was not only capable of immediate response but also disciplined enough to control outcomes. This combination of visibility and strategy solidified Gucci Mane's standing, both among peers and within the broader hip-hop community. Pooh Shiesty, meanwhile, faced the challenge of navigating this high-pressure environment without appearing weak. Reports suggest his team prioritized strategic restraint, monitoring movements, and carefully crafting public statements. Every post, every comment, and every public appearance was calculated to maintain credibility and avoid unnecessary risk. Sources describe a mix of tension and focus within Shiesty's camp, as they balanced the desire to assert dominance with the understanding that legal or public repercussions could escalate if the situation spiraled. The impact of social media remained a critical factor. Clips and screenshots of the pull-up circulated widely, fueling fan debates and speculation about what would happen next. Some celebrated Gucci Mane's decisive approach, framing it as a lesson in respect and authority. Others worried that the confrontation could escalate further, potentially involving other crews or drawing attention from law enforcement. In this environment, every public reaction was analyzed, and the pressure on both sides to maintain image while avoiding escalation was immense. Beyond perception and strategy, the emotional toll was significant. Sources say that adrenaline, fear, and pride played roles in every interaction, even after the crews physically dispersed. Leadership decisions had to account for younger members who were watching, learning, and responding in ways that could either stabilize or intensify the situation. In high-stakes moments like this, control over the environment and over emotions can be as important as physical presence. Gucci Mane's team reportedly emphasized discipline, using the pull-up as a teaching moment while also reinforcing their authority. Legal considerations continued to hover over every action. Any misstep could have led to arrests, lawsuits, or other consequences that might overshadow the cultural impact of the confrontation. Both crews reportedly understood the risks, balancing visibility with caution. The challenge was not just asserting dominance but doing so in a way that avoided tangible consequences, a delicate balance that required foresight, strategy, and discipline. As the story continued to unfold, it became evident that this wasn't just a dispute about respect or rivalry. It was about influence, control, and survival in a culture where perception is everything. Gucci Mane's crew had made a clear statement about the consequences of crossing boundaries, while Pooh Shiesty's response highlighted the necessity of strategy and calculated restraint. Both sides were aware that the narrative would be dissected online, in the media, and within industry circles, making every move a critical component of their ongoing reputations. By the end of this chapter, the pull-up had solidified itself as a defining moment. It demonstrated how authority, strategy, and perception interact in modern hip-hop conflicts. Gucci Mane's actions reinforced his leadership and the importance of swift, decisive responses, while Pooh Shiesty's measured approach underscored the value of strategic navigation under pressure. Fans, insiders, and industry professionals alike understood that this incident would influence behavior, alliances, and reputation management for months to come. Ultimately, the confrontation was a reminder of the high stakes in this world. Loyalty and respect are paramount. Perception is powerful, and every action carries weight far beyond the immediate moment. The pull-up was not just a reaction. It was a calculated assertion of influence, a demonstration of strategy, and a message that the rules of engagement in this culture are both immediate and enduring. For Gucci Mane, Pooh Shiesty, and everyone watching, the lesson was clear. In a world where power is constantly tested, authority is not given. It's proven, moment by moment, move by move. If this story had you on the edge of your seat, now's the time to let your voice be heard. The Gucci Mane versus Pooh Shiesty pull-up isn't just street drama. It's a real-life lesson on power, strategy, and consequences in hip-hop culture. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think came out stronger? And what do you expect to happen next? Make sure to smash that like button if you want more inside looks at the drama the headlines don't cover. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Because stories like this move fast, and every development could change the narrative completely. We break down the real stakes behind every viral moment, the strategy behind every move, and the truth behind the headlines. Stay locked in, because in this world, what happens next could define reputations, careers, and the culture itself. Don't blink, you won't want to miss it.